So the first poem I'm going to read from Remains is called Appetite, and it takes as its source, what got this poem into speaking, into motion, was a photograph that I saw in the San Antonio Express News on March 2nd, 2003. And so we were building up to preparing to invade Iraq for reasons that were quite misleading, as we discovered later. And it was the Sunday paper, and I was looking through it to find the poetry section, and I came across a photograph, a fairly sizable colored photograph that was taken at a rally that had been held the day before in San Antonio. And it was a rally for the troops, and although the troops weren't in battle yet. And the focus of the photograph was, in the photograph it showed a person that was wearing a mask of President George W. Bush, and he was carrying a platter, and on the platter were two plastic heads, and one was Saddam Hussein and the other was Osama bin Laden. And in the background you could see the people who were at the rally, and could see them turning and watching him get his photograph taken and laughing and smiling, and I was horrified by this image, and it instantly associated for me with a story from, I guess, the Gospel of Matthew and the story of the beheading of John the Baptist. That was so. I followed my own chain of association and went to the story of John the Baptist. So this is called Appetite, from a photograph, San Antonio Express News, March 2nd, 2003. Salome earned her head by dancing.
Yeah.
What a vision she must have been, dressed in white linen, arms twirling like pale flames, hips swaying across the great dining hall, black hair falling loose as midnight, bare feet surprisingly small for the distance she covered alone. What man could resist such suppleness? The wine, like the linen of her dress, was especially fine that night. When Herod promised to grant any wish, he never dreamed her maiden appetite could turn ferocious. He dropped his goblet when she answered, became stone sober. What's a ruler to do? He had given his word. Within minutes, the gaunt and wild-eyed head of a prophet bloodied a silver platter. Salome did not flinch as she carried the gift to her mother, a woman with no taste for uncomfortable truths. Some years later, north of San Antonio, a rally for troops waiting near the desert. Instead of wine, the waving of flags, talk of God and war. Weaving through the chanting crowd is a man who wears the mask of our president and bears a platter trimmed with the heads of two men, Hussein and bin Laden. We might wish the heads were real, but they are merely plastic. If only we could dip our fingers in their false blood, taste the updated delicacies of revenge.